The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the host/guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any of BXR entities and those they represent.
How y'all doing? So, I'm gonna do a live show again.
That clap was answering your question. You said, "How you doing?" We clapped.
Oh, all right. I mean, that applause made me think about when I used to do the show live from Hotel RL, and it was like live people there. I think I want to do that again. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm still not convinced about this monkeypox or the COVID that's still real because there's still people getting COVID every day. And I know that's gonna be a norm, but bitch, y'all still doing things like we don't have it. Like y'all not following all the precautions. But so I've had a really interesting week. So we're coming off of Baltimore Fashion Week. The first week of school is, done. I got a bone spur. Like real adult shit has been happening in the last like 3 or 4 months. And I really have, I mean, I've been an adult for a long time now. But I've been an adult for a long time now, but just it got real in the last couple months, and life just been happening. And I have found that when I turn up, I encourage other people to turn up. So when I have an attitude about something, I've realized my power in a situation. And today, I've realized it for a long time, but today it really rang true because I had an attitude. Um, I have an issue with any bad customer service, just across the board. And I experienced bad customer service in a few different places today. I'm gonna start with like the last incident. Um, in a nail shop, I decided to treat myself. Well, me and a friend went to a nail shop in my neighborhood that I go to, and I went there to get my toes done, and they wouldn't see me. Now, I've lived in that neighborhood longer than they've been in that neighborhood, and once they opened up, I started going to them. I have never, ever, 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 ever um, made a reservation because I ain't never had nobody in there. But today I walked in there, and apparently, I guess because of the COVID and coming out of it, people are starting to seek out these types of places more now. So all the nail stations were taken up, so they was filled, but all the pedicure stations weren't. So I was like, well, maybe these people are getting pedicures too, but that's not true. Because typically when you go to the nail salon, they give you your pedicure first and then they give you your manicure unless you ask. But okay. So I ended up having to go to my Plan B nail shop, which is just a couple blocks away. Um, and then I had to wait a little bit there. But the lady who it's a test for me. The lady who was seeing me, my normal guy was not there, so I just see this lady. And first of all, I was waiting forever. My water had gotten cold and everything, waiting for her to come out. So I had an attitude when she came out. And then she came out on her phone. little Filipino lady. I didn't say nothing. I just looked at her, and I wanted her to catch my eye while she was on the phone. But the man next to her must have saw my facial expression, and he tapped her on the shoulder to put her phone away. And she got an attitude, but when she looked at my face and realized I had a problem, because she was like, she wasn't even touching my nails, and she was just like going over my foot, and the file wasn't even touching my foot. It wasn't. It had a bunch of whatever that stuff they put on you, but she wasn't even touching. And whatever she was doing, it must have been a bill collector or a man or something. But I was really frustrated because she was gonna keep going. And then she went to the next step, like she had just filed my toes. Now I don't have crusty feet. I don't have bad feet at all. But baby, I'm not paying, or my friend, I refuse to let my friend pay for something you ain't did. And then once she realized I had an attitude, she apologized, but she was just rushing. She was rushing. She kept looking at the clock like she had another phone call to me. And I asked, I said, "Can you slow down, because my ankle is a little injured, and I don't want you to be jerking my foot, and it this pain medicine wear off." She had an attitude, so she going fast. She going fast. She going fast. I got the little parfum thing where they put the wax on your feet. Is it paraffin? I must be pronouncing it wrong. But anyway, I got that. I got,
Perfect.
yeah, I got that. So I got the little, scrub off my foot, all it, but she was rushing. So my friend like say something. I was like, no, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna wait. So I waited till she was finished, and she was like, clear nail polish. I said no. So I let her go through the whole thing. I let her bring me over my receipt and everything. I said, I'm not paying for this. She said, no, you pay, you pay, you pay. And I was like, you just brush dog me. Like she didn't do the little clip thing where she do the cuticles and push her, like she was just skipping steps. So the man came over there who tapped on her shoulder first, and he like stepped in and he started the pedicure all over because I wasn't paying for that. And I guess she got pissed because he came in and stepped in on her customer. But it was just that on top of coming from the doctor's office, and I'm in the doctor's office. Now, if you are 5 minutes late, they ready to cancel your visit. And they still will charge your insurance or charge you if you don't have insurance. I was not only was I on time, but they now give you my doctor's office. I think most doctor's offices now, they'll let you check in before you even get there. So you're not waiting. All you gotta do is come and let them know you're there, and then you be to the back. I had did that an hour before. I did that an hour before, got there, checked in, was like, I'm here, but I'm gonna go sit downstairs because I know I still got a half an hour. Got there, came back upstairs with 10 minutes before, checked in. I sit out in the waiting area for maybe 45 minutes. They finally called me to the back. I sit in the office, in her office for maybe another 35 minutes. So by the time she got in there, I had an attitude. I had a real attitude. And I have a nutritionist. So I guess they sent the nutritionist in first because she was with another patient. So even when she came in, I had no words for this lady. She was asking me questions, and I was burned up because I could have went to work today because on Fridays my class is in at 12:20. So I could have went to work today and still got there before the doctor came. The doctor didn't get in there until 12:50. I could have went to work and got off at 12:20 and got to this clinic and still got my full day pay. So I was already pissed. Then the nail shop happened after that. But it's just I'm a stickler for customer service because I try to do my best to please people. I'm not a person that's always in your face when you come into my shop, but I definitely try to give you the best experience with the quality of my work and all that. But when I get bad customer service, I really be pissed off because people really be, you know, they be on one. And that the way the doctor's office is set up for them to make you wait so long, but if they have to wait for you, they ready to skip over. And I get when people are late, it throws everything else off for them for the day. But communicate that. Please don't come in here like I only been waiting for 2 minutes. And then you asking me why I got an attitude. I got an attitude because I've been waiting and I could have went to work today. I really could have went to work today. But on top of that, like I said, I got a heel spur, and I probably had it because this pain has been really persistent for like the last month. But it will go away. I would take some Tylenol, a couple days it'll go away. But right before the week leading up to Baltimore Fashion Week, it was really bad. Like I was really trying to get a bunch of things done, and then that Friday before Baltimore Fashion Week started, it just disappeared. Like the pain went away by itself. And then this week it started back up like Saturday of last week, and it just progressively got worse. So Wednesday it was like I ain't able to do this, and I believe I had left here my studio and I was on my way to rehearsal, and I was like I cannot do this. I can't walk like this anymore. Like I'm a teacher, so I'm up on my feet all day, and it's you know I knew something was wrong. It wasn't just I had rolled my ankle again. It was just something worse. And I was hoping it wasn't too bad. But so I get to the emergency room now. Because I'm at the Arena Players, the closest emergency room was Maryland General. Well, at University Midtown campus, that's what they call it now. But the shit is still Maryland General. Um, it took forever. It really took forever. I should have just went to Mercy Hospital. I really should have went there, but I said I can't walk anymore. I can't get no further. Let me stop here. And the only highlight of it, and we're gonna talk about it once Blue logs on. But I had a really nice nurse experience, and it was really nice. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but it was crazy, and I didn't get out of there till almost it was like 12:30, so no pharmacy was open. So I rely on the medication that they gave me. Which is really good. I'm not a drugs person, but I like when medicine does its work. And because I don't take pain medicine ever, when I do take it, it does work. But I woke up, I didn't go to work Thursday. I got to sleep in and do some work at home. I had a friend came to visit me, so I had somebody to chill with me for a little bit. Um, I got a really nice meal delivered to me, and my theater family been, sending me love wishes and all that stuff. However, um, work has to continue on. It's not like when you're a child, everything is happening for you. But as an adult, you still got to figure out bills and household and all that. So um, I still been working, and I just appreciate everybody who reached out to me. I didn't tell everybody because I'm a person who just like to keep my business to myself. I like to go through and then come back. You know, I'm not one of the people that like to bug people or take the pictures in the hospital and want. I ain't gonna tell what people want. But anyway, we're here. Blue should be joining us shortly. He's a hardworking man. He is, and yeah, I'm just trying to share out the show. If you're watching, please like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Um, I have not really been promoting the artist exchange like I used to, but now that my schedule is kind of evened out a little bit, and I'm making some big, you know, uh, jumps this weekend in terms of scheduling, in terms of getting everything in order. So you'll see a lot more promotion. I do have guests lined up for September, even though this is the first September day, is actually the second. Um, I do have some great things coming up. Look out for some announcements. I know off the top of my head, November 1st, the opening of the show that I've been working on for months now. A real nigga, not a real nigga show. You thought I was him. The cast has been announced, and we'll be doing a number of interviews. So if you are a show, if you have a platform, if you're a blogger, If you like to review plays, please hit me up at scenework. That's SCENEWURK @gmail.com. And we'll be able to, hook up with you and schedule some times for myself, the production team, or the cast to come onto your platform. A press release will be. I'm working on a press release now. I'm the production coordinator for this piece, so I'm doing a lot of the branding and marketing and social media. And we have a podcast that came out this Tuesday. Well, we've been doing a podcast, but one of the episodes came out this Tuesday, and you got to meet half of the cast, and we'll be doing a part 2 to that, where you meet the other half of the cast, and maybe some of the other writers as well who have not been on the show so far. What else is coming up? So that then in December, the Black Arts District will be putting on an artist fair, and it's a number of workshops. It's a number of um, workshops and resources and all that jazz. Speaking of the Black Arts District, we just had the Black to the Future event, where Monty was actually the facilitator this time, and people really enjoyed him. I've gotten a lot of good feedback, which I have to share with him once I get it all organized into our database. You said what?
I didn't say anything. I was playing.
But how did you enjoy yourself?
You already know I was super nervous in the beginning. But as soon as I got in front of everybody, I felt a lot better. I mean, the conversation started to flow. There was a million questions, which I love.
Right, right.
I think it really did open me back up to being in front of people, because that was the first time I was in a group like that in a long time, besides Fashion Week, where I was still secluded and hiding in the background. But
force you to be out with the people.
Yeah, this was me standing in front of people and having them be able to breathe on me. So, which was where my fear was coming from. So that actually it enlightened me to that I'll be okay. I'm gonna be okay as long as you don't touch me. I'm good. Although they were saying I was touching too many people.
Well, I mean, for me, I still in a crowded room. I'm still very cautious. One, because I think some people just like the flu. They're just okay, you can get it, but depending on how you get it and the strand or whatever, it could be deadly, or at least something that sits you down. True. Now, thankfully, throughout this process, I have not gotten it. I think I got it before it came out, which we still don't know, because they still never told me what was wrong, and I ain't never been checked in the hospital before, but I was checked in the hospital. Knock on wood, because I don't want that shit to ever happen again. But yeah, so thankfully I haven't gotten it, and I don't think any of you have gotten it that I know. A lot of people in my circle haven't gotten it, but I do have friends who have gotten it. I have family members who died from it instantly, because they didn't have any symptoms, and then it just hit them. And most of them had pre-existing conditions. But yeah, I be nervous still, and you see, I still keep my mask on, and I don't care how people feel uncomfortable. Because some people look at you weird now. Like, people are starting to look at me now.
I gotta know, bitch, because I don't trust you.
Right, but remember how we used to look at people who used to walk around with masks on, and it would be like only them? Well, people look at me like that now when I go into the market, or I'm in the, I'm in school, because some people in school don't wear them anymore. I do. Some of the students don't wear them. I do. Even the school nurse, I don't think she has it on all the time. But anyway, I don't want to tell on nobody though. But if she's also have it on. But yeah, so that event is to really, and we actually had a meeting, and part of my argument was because we're building up to the artist fair that we're having in December with, and those dates will be out soon. That date will be out soon. I think it's the the 2nd and the 3rd of December. So that Friday and Saturday of December, that first Friday and Saturday of December, I think that's the 2nd and 3rd. We'll be doing a bigger artist fair. So imagine that one meeting gets magnified times like 20. So we'll have at least like 15 other resources. Well, not resources, facilitators and workshops going on at the same time each day. And we'll have plenty more resources and vendors and people. So we're pushing for at least 800 to 1,000 people. And these smaller ones, these monthly ones are building up to that. So definitely, Monty, get your information together so you can do the larger one when I start picking the individuals for December. But these smaller ones are really for not only for the people to get the resources, but people like Monty who are not used to, doing this on a regular basis. And I'm sure he's done a form of this at work, but it's different when you're around your work colleagues versus when you're around the public in general. And I really want to create a facilitating space for individuals to come and be able to sharpen their tools. If you know how to publish or produce or do radio, and Monty's an accountant, so you have these skill sets. I really want to help people to be able to showcase that in a form of workshopping and giving people resources. Because people may not, because I remember one of the men who came in, he was like, I got my own business already. I'm good. I was like, well, just listen to it. And he was one of the first people to come and ask for your information. So people don't realize, especially with finances, how much trouble they really in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not permanent trouble, but it's sometimes trouble that you get yourself in. What you say?
It's because most people think they know exactly what they're doing, and they know all of the logistics and everything that goes along with it. And then they see that tax return, and then they all with their eyes crossed.
Because we associate being good with money with knowing how to make money.
Exactly.
And those are two separate things.
And it's not the same thing as for accounting for the money.
Right. Because a lot of business owners I know don't have, even if they have a personal and business account, they often use the business for personal and the personal for business. So I know that's one of the biggest issues. And just keeping track of the money is very cumbersome. Like if your phone bill was due that month, you normally just, okay, I made this, I sold this many earrings, I got enough money to pay my cell phone bill. And it's not, you can't do it because you really don't, you may have made the money in your business, but personally, you don't have the money to pay your cell phone bill. Your business has the money to pay your cell phone bill.
Right.
But unless you are, and you should be like Marnie, a lot of stuff, I'll be asking him questions here and there about stuff, but I learned how to put those things on there. And I remember when the first year we were in the pandemic and I did my taxes, one of the things that I do the most, which is catch lifts and Ubers, kind of helped me from owing the government as much money as I did owe them. Because I got to, for that year, I claimed all that, and I was able to, well, not claim all of it, but I claimed all the business because you can separate the business from the personal ride. But yeah, I went through and I was like, bitch, I could have bought put a down payment on a car. All the shit that I did, but it was, learning how to separate and account for your money that you're making versus what's going out and what you're using personally versus business is a thing that most people don't know how to do. I know people who are very wealthy who don't know what to do with their money. It's just not in them. But was there anything that you learned from that event or you would want to learn?
I'm sorry, say that. Were you talking to me?
Yeah, was there anything that you learned from the event or something that you would like to learn more about? Or...
Well, the event was great, especially for, like I said, for those that did not have an account in it, and didn't even know they needed one. That was one of the best parts out of this, out of the whole entire presentation that I took away from it, is that there are a lot of businesses out there, and through this pandemic process, that have started and didn't know they was going to need an account. Like,
Yeah.
eventually, you know, you're going to need an accountant because you have to account for that money correctly. But one of the good things that event was a great networking event all in itself because everybody
Mhm.
got to basically stand up and say what they do and present their business. And then I see all those people just exchanging business cards and contact information. It was really,
Mhm.
really great. So if you haven't been able to get to the Black to the Future event, I want y'all to try one. It's another one coming up soon, right?
Yeah, so it's typically the last Saturday of every month, even though this month was on a Friday, but they had the Legacy Fest, which is another component that they do. So every year they have the Legacy Fest, and is dedicated to that arts district, that Pennsylvania Avenue corridor. So they had a number of entertainers and stuff, but this month it replaced the actual event, and we had to push it back a day. So it is a different facilitator each month, and we normally it's the young lady Shinyer. She does the Black Mall, and I think y'all saw me with a shirt on the other day that said the Baltimore scene. So that she does those events, and because I do more workshops and I facilitate more, I bring that, and she brings her hosting. She does normally does open mics and stuff, so that's why the networking session feels like an open mic, because she typically does open mics, and they kind of partner me and her together, and we produce this event, and it's being sponsored by the Black Arts District. So it really is beneficial, and the event itself came from me wanting to help entrepreneurs in general because I just felt like all these people were able to be given money or had access to a little extra money throughout the pandemic, and they had the time. So a lot of people, I know a lot of people who quit really good jobs to be able to start a business. One of the girls, Keisha, I know she started an event planning company. Now Keisha was a CO, and then she became part of the COs that transport the individuals back and forth to court, the inmates back and forth to court. So she was making pretty good money, but the pandemic gave her opportunity to start her own event planning company. We had her son on when we her son was one of the last guests that we had before we went to virtual before the pandemic came. And he was a chef, so she was able to help him to develop his business more and develop her own business. So I know a lot of people who are smart business wise, but it was certain things. And for me, it kept being like I was talking about customer service in the beginning. It kept being customer service issues, and I kept seeing that as the means. And even for me, while I'm trying to juggle school, working, being a teacher, and doing this, my shop has not been consistently open. But I had to hire someone and figure out the hours, and trying to figure it out. So there's things that I need, the financial part. So like Monty came in and did a lot of accounting, and we didn't even really get to his workshop portion because there were so many questions and so many people that were so enthused and wanted to help him do his job for that moment. But other than that, was there
That
something
part
that
was very entertaining.
I had to show that other side of Nate in that moment because I just want people to learn. Like you would not be here if you knew it all. You
Right.
just wouldn't. You wouldn't feel a need to come if you knew it all. So sometimes as Black people, we have to learn how to listen. And that's a valuable lesson that I'm learning. But other than just the networking experience, was there anything that you see that we could have improved on in terms of the event? Because we want all the feedback.
Um, I see. I don't think I'm going to be a good judge of that in this first time going.
Okay.
Maybe after the second time, I ask me that question after I go next time when I'm not a presenter and I'm
Okay.
actually.
And you can get just be in it. But
Yeah.
we want even the events. So we typically have, and I don't know if that element will be brought back because that's not something I brought to it. But we normally have a photo booth there where people can take headshots. But we had Tracy walking around this time taking photos, and those photos will be released soon. But
I mean, because the one thing I really wanted when I got there was the massage, and I got it. So
oh yeah. So you got some experience, Tanya.
Mhm.
And
It was great.
she is, and you be in pain while she doing it, but
Yeah.
after the fact, it is definitely, it's gonna relax
You know, I'm used to getting massages, so when she got to touching and getting in my spot where I told her to point it, you know,
you.
it was great.
Yeah. So that's another element that's at every one of them. And then we have our resources. We had a little bit more vendors than we typically have, but we have a lot of people. And right now, some of the complaints have been that it feels too organic and it needs a little bit of structure. But what we're trying to do is just give people a taste of like building up for December, and we're gearing up for next year where we may be in a different space. And we've
And I
talked about.
disagree with that if it was being too organic because I like the freedom of the flow that you
Well,
can
that's your learning style, though.
yeah, that you can just move about the event and you don't have to be good. That's sometimes one of the reasons why I leave is because
Yeah,
it's too structured and it's
yeah.
too stiff and that's kind of boring to me. And I'd be
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm bored. If I get the yawn, then I gotta go. I didn't
And
yawn one
that's what for the director and the director that's over top of us. That's one of the things that we said to him. Like we want people to learn on their level. So we have
yeah.
elements that are really structured, and then we have elements that are a little loose and casual, because we want people to want to stay and
And what
have
was
fun.
interesting is that when it was time to present,
Mhm.
everybody sat down and focused on the presentation. Now
Right.
you don't typically get that when you got that many vendors around a certain in that circle. You still see people still shopping and doing whatever they
Yeah.
want to do. This gave them the opportunity to shop for the most of the period
Mhm.
and then present and then go back to shopping. And then
Because
when it turned
that portion of it is the structured part of it.
yeah, and then
So
when it
that's
turned
the
into
part
the
we're trying.
party, that was even better.
Right. 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 And typically, I normally get out of there, but because you all still stay, I stay because I be tired because I'm doing surveys and stuff like that the whole time. But
That's as I say because I was on a high. I was on a different kind of high after that because it was successful to me. I
right,
felt good about what I did. So I was like, okay, all right, got now I'm ready to party. Give me a drink.
and we were in the Be More Green space, and that space is kind of turning the corner store on its head. So it actually has healthy products that they're selling. They give away so much produce every day. And they actually have a farm location. I think they have a couple farm locations where they source a lot of their produce from. So they're giving you produce. They sell vegan and vegetarian and healthy organic options for
Yeah, that's
you.
owned by Dominic Nell,
Uh-huh.
and he's
Farmer
the black
now.
farmer up there in Park Heights.
Yeah. So that's where one of their farms is, up in that area. So that's where they get a lot of, and then they have a lot of donations. Like I think that day they were giving away the spinach,
Yes,
and so they
I
give
still
they
got some
do a
of
lot of
my
giveaways.
sandwiches every day.
See, they give away a lot of produce, and anybody can get it. You don't just have to be in need, but they give out to the community because in that area, even though you have shoppers up at Mondawmin, and I believe Warburg Junction now has a new market there now, it's still not the freshest produce,
Mhm.
and you got to pay for it, but they give their stuff away um, for individuals, and then they have a selling part, and then they have an artist space in there, and then they host things like our event. So our event is the first consistent big event that they do every month. That they co-partner with every month, and it really is. It's been a great time being on that North Avenue corridor because then you have individuals that just stop in that normally come there for other reasons, or they just stopping by and hear us in there. They hear the music and they're able to take part. But I really am enjoying it, and it's really like a good space. And I'm glad you got a chance to come and show off what you do, because that's what we want people who we don't want the people who always get picked or always get asked to do stuff, but we want people who don't typically get to do it. You
Yep.
know, and most people would know you from doing the radio. So now knowing you as an accountant, it probably connected you because even the director of the whole program, she had the most questions.
She
So,
sure did. That's
right.
what I was like, and I didn't, and like I told you the other day, I didn't know who she was
Yeah.
until you told me she
Mhm.
was the executive director of BAD. I
Right.
didn't know that, and I
Right.
was like,
So
okay, I thought she was answering questions, but now, you know, I'll talk to you this other part later because
but there's it's a smaller organization. The Black Arts District is really a little over a year and a half old, and it's thankfully because we were talking yesterday on what we call Chaz's show.
Right.
About what are people doing. And she was one of the people that was, she was with another group called Leaders of a Beautiful Struggle. And she's a poet. Most people know her from being one of the big poets in the city because they go around internationally. And she has won awards and fellowships and prize money from just being a poet. So now she's been asked to be the director of the Black Arts District. And she's been the director since she's the first director of the Black Arts District. And people don't know that that's something that's actually building and something that's actually happening. And that's thanks to Brandon Scott, Mayor Scott. Is it his name Scott? Brandon Scott? Yeah. I don't know why I want to say Young. That's what it is. I was trying to say Young.
Okay.
He's gone, never coming back. But yeah, so that was my fight for him. Like he is doing things, but he is doing things that typically don't get happen. All the mayors that we've had that's been giving money to the arts, they never thought of saying, "Hey, we have a historical walkway there, Pennsylvania Avenue. Let's do something different. Let's make that a Black Arts District." Typically, our mayors give to the white arts district in the city, and it wasn't his idea to do a Black arts district, but a number of people like Lady Breon got together and pushed that idea, and they made it happen in a record time. And we have one of, I think, maybe 3 or 4 Black arts districts in the city, and ours is the largest out of all of those. So it says a lot, and that's something that he's doing. And most people, if you're not in the arts world, it's like, oh yeah, that's you just giving to the arts. But if you realize how much money has been released, not just for the arts district, but through Maryland State Arts Council and a number of other grants. That's why we always have service providers at the Black to the Future event, because it's so much money being poured into our community, and some of it is not from traditional places. Some of it is a lot of it is being given to the arts districts or the artists in general. A lot of relief funding, because artists are the people who keep things going. They keep a lot of things in the city going. They keep a lot of attention. That's why movies are being made now. Movies they always did movies here, but now we're having bigger movies done by local artists here. More documentaries being done here because they're funneling money through the arts and bringing, and that's why the movie theaters or stuff like that are coming here again, because the arts districts are flourishing. But people like, I don't know what Brandon Scott is doing. He ain't doing nothing for me. Well, read something. Read something. See what he's doing. Everything is not going to pay your bills directly. So sometimes you just got to get yourself out there and stop waiting for him to come knock on your front. He's not going to do it. He's not. He's connecting with people who are already established. They have ideas established. And this is another thing. So if you did not watch Chaz's show on Big Exposed last night, it comes on every Thursday at 7 p.m. Go to Big Exposed Radio on either the Facebook page or YouTube, and you'll see her show on. And one of the gentlemen on there yesterday was complaining about, him not coming into the hood to do things. And a lot of people that he are working with, they have started the work. And by the time he gets to them or sees what they're doing, he can add a little bit of funding to it or push some resources. But you have an idea that you've done nothing with. You haven't done anything. Anybody that gives money, and money, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but anybody that's giving money, they want to see what you're already doing. They don't want you to rely on their funding. They want to see if I give them a couple dollars or give them some resources or send people to them, they already have something going. And if we run out of
and it typically takes a plane that you're going to have at the end of this after I give you this money.
But even your plan, even if you haven't started the center or started the school or started the initiative, you should at least have a great business plan or a model created for if and when I get the money, is ready to go. And you should be doing an element of that on your own already. And then your strategic plan for the next 5, 10, 15 years should be that detailed plan. But you just having an idea for something and wanting Brandon Scott Young to put city money into it, they're not going to do that. They don't do that for the white people. Those white people have a plan. And some of them rubbing each other's hands, but for the most part, they have a plan. They go to the city council meeting with not only with a bunch of people from that community, but they come with sheets and sheets of signed signatures from community members. So you got to have numbers behind you, not just dollars and cent numbers, but the people behind you. Because if this, unfortunately, you have to play the politics game with them. So if somebody is running up for reelection and they see you got 100,000 people from your section of the city ready to do whatever this is, they're going to put their voice to that and add that to their list of to-dos when they go out campaigning. But if you just sit in your hood on your porch waiting for Brandon Scott Young to drive by, when does that go happen? Brandon don't even come to that part of the city unless it's something official going on, like Freakness and some shit. Other than that, he's not coming up there. So you can keep waiting on him because you could always go downtown and meet him. Anybody can set up a meeting. It might take a couple months, but anybody can set up a meeting. And I think he's really good at having those meetings and such with his constituents and with people, business owners and such. But please don't sit and wait with an idea that may be great and wait for people with money or leaders or politicians to come to you because they don't even know you. You don't have a Facebook page for your initiative. You don't have, you're not doing like ongoing. You can be doing a podcast talking about the thing, just bringing up, revving up attention. One of the shows that I go, because I do this platform, the show that I'm working on, You Thought I Was Him. One of my ideas was to start a podcast, a temporary podcast, where we just bring people on and we do a community conversation every month where we're just getting revving it up. And the tickets are just went on sale and we're already almost sold out the first day. So it's just trying to figure out how to get things done. But please don't just wait and complain. We are great in our community for waiting and complaining. And then look, Brandon Scott, we done voted him in. You ain't voted him in because you ain't even go vote. But they done voted him in, and look, he ain't doing nothing for us. But he not doing nothing for you. But people who really want it are figuring out how to get it. For me, I just started applying for more grants. And I'm sharing those grants with people. I'm bringing them to the Black Arts District so they can see there are other like-minded people who may need the same help as them. Everything don't look like, the battlefield. Sometimes you got to find where your battlefield is and do the things that you need to get done to do it. But, I was watching that show last night and it was just frustrating me because I can see the giant, and I'm not faulting him for his anger, his frustration, because you see your neighborhood going to hell. You see it. And it's very frustrating because you have ideas to get it going on, but what are you doing? And I'm not to say you're not doing anything, but I'm asking you, what are you doing? Because I don't see it. I hear you talking about bits and pieces of it, but what are you actually doing? I'm tired of people complaining about politicians that they, one, did not vote for, or vote against, or vote at all. And then they're just mad because people become the mayor, the governor, the president, the vice president of the entire city or state or country. But they're not just because they're Black, they're not just the Black president. Because if that's the truth, we can't get mad when Trump or somebody like him does things for his own people. Because that's the formula that you want to go by. But you have to support those people in leadership in terms of getting your agendas passed. And just understand that's your agenda. It may be 500 other people with 5,000 different other agendas and things that they want to get done. But you can't just expect for your idea to get done because you think, um, sorry, I'm talking to Blue. But yeah, it's yeah. So I was watching the show last night, and that frustrated me. Not because I didn't feel like he was doing anything, the guest that Chaz had on, but he just represented a person who is frustrated, justifiably frustrated. But it gets to a point of us keep complaining about things that we aren't establishing. You know, if you want to start an after school program, start an after school program. Go to the school in your neighborhood, and make sure you're bonded. Make sure, you know, that's an easy way of, doing things, but you got to get your background check. Make sure you can pass a background check. Or at least you have people who can do the things that you can put into place that can pass the background check. Because that's one thing you got to do if you're working in the school. That's just one example, but you know, if you want to do something, make sure you know what you want to do. Because if Brandon Scott was to come to you, or some multi-million-dollar individual would come to you, what would you tell them? How many times do you give people money for just to do what they want to do? But you want to know where your money going. You want to know if you're going to receive a return on that money. You want to know what are they going to do? You want to follow that structure of where your money going. You're not just going to give people money to do something. Um, Marty, are you there? I'm crazy. Oh, Blue is about to log on. But today's topic is be you for you. And I'll start the conversation. Um, I think I always knew who I was. Um, I don't want to say what, but who I was. My issue was I let other people's insecurities sit me back. And I never wanted anybody to feel uncomfortable. I like when everybody is getting along. And I did not maintain who I was, or I did not build on who I really was, for fear that I was going to hurt somebody else's feelings or make somebody else feel uncomfortable, or it just, so a parts of who I am, this creative self of mine. I hello.
Hello.
Is that a actual? Who did that painting? Is that one of Mazel's paintings?
No, that's a background. But I
Um,
want to have her do it I do want her to do this for my living room.
if y'all don't know Mazel, she is a great artist.
She absolutely is.
Trying to
She
force to get
absolutely
her out
is.
there.
I mean, I talked to her this morning and I was telling her that she needs to promote more of her stuff. Actually, I want to do this. If she could either do it at the top of my stairs or in my living room on my
Mm,
actual walls. That would be everything. I don't know because but yeah, the brown will probably show up because
I had to do it in a. She can do it in a lighter brown.
yeah. Yeah.
If you've ever been to Blue House, he has these bright ass walls, and then he
And
put
it
these
feels
blue lights all around.
and it feels like a hookah lounge. And it
I don't
feels
like when you coming down the steps. I don't like that image. That image is really spooky. It
oh,
is
I
really.
love that. That's my good juju mask.
I try not to
It
even
scares
look at it. I try to just look
it
down.
it scares the sin out of you.
You know, it don't scare the sin out of me. It just creeps me out. That's when it does.
Ah, that's what it does.
So
That's
I
because
was so
you got a lot of sin in you,
no.
Satan.
I'm the angel of your bunch. Trust me.
Not if you're a
You're
Gemini.
not the angel of the bunch. We know that.
I am. I am. I'm the angel of love and debauchery.
If you the exactly.
Who doesn't like a little?
We call them saints. That's you the saint then. That's not an angel. Got two separate types of people. But I had started talking before you got on about our topic, and it was we had started talking the other day, and literally on my way here, like I heard the message, be you for you. Um, because I see a lot of people now being themselves for what they think people want to see or how people want them to be. And I started off the conversation by saying, for me, I always knew who I was. I just dimmed my light to make other people feel comfortable because I felt that my light was maybe blinding to some people or uncomfortable to some people. And I never like to make people anybody to feel uncomfortable. But I made it my issue and I made it my responsibility. And that's a totally different way than what I'm living my life now. So
Mhm.
when someone's uncomfortable around me, I react differently than what I used to. So before, someone's discomfort around me turned into a call to action for me. And I don't do that no more.
Mhm.
You just gonna be uncomfortable.
And what made you change?
But I didn't change. I always was this person. It was just the I don't feel the need to bring you to where I'm at.
Okay.
That's your
So I
job.
guess not necessarily. Okay, let me rephrase that. What changed your response?
I was empty. Like I felt empty was because doing that, you drain yourselves of all your natural resources and trying to, and it wasn't pleasing people. I wanted you to feel like I felt on the inside. But I knew you assumed or wanted me to feel like you felt or thought I was feeling like I don't know what it was really.
I was
But
about
I
to say,
just
how did you know that?
um some people say it in so many words. They don't come out and say exactly that, but they definitely say it in so many words. So they just assume that, if you're not like for me, I'm not the perfect what people would deem the perfect size. I don't look like this person or what they would deem as a star, but I
Hmm.
know I'm great. I know many people who I deem as great deem me as great. So,
So who said that?
huh?
Who said you weren't the perfect size? And what were you comparing yourself to?
Well, I wasn't doing a comparison, but I had this thing in me where I just wanted you to feel comfortable. I knew whatever you were saying to me, it wasn't about me. It was just a reflection of how you saw yourself. That's how I always saw it. But I
Mhm.
wanted everybody to feel good. I like when people getting along with each other. I like when everybody's doing their best. I physically like to see people in their space. Like I
Okay.
like to see it. Like we were talking about Marnie doing the Black to the Future event last Friday. That's why we wasn't here, audience. But I like to see, like I like seeing him in a space that he's typically not comfortable in. But the old
Mhm.
made it my business to figure out how to help him solve that problem. Not to say Marty had a problem, but just figuring out how to help people. Like I like fixing people. That's the cancer. I think what's it? The rising something. What's the other one? Your
Your
rising,
moon
your,
sign?
yeah. So I think I have a Taurus rising moon and something. A Cancer is the other one.
Ew. I'm allergic to every last one of those.
Whatever. But
The
you
only
steady
one I
come back from
the,
the war.
the only one I like is the Gemini, and I'm almost allergic to that. I take
Don't
Benadryl
you
for you.
don't you
I,
have a Cancer in your home?
I take Benadryl for him too.
I was about to say, how the hell you got a whole Cancer in your house?
I take Benadryl. I take lots and lots of Benadryl.
I suggest a muscle relaxer
Do
because
you
it
know
puts
what?
you in a nice space.
Well, I have some
I got
Flexeril
some for you
too.
because I'm not gonna take them all.
I have some Flexeril too. So if you got some of those, that's fine. You know, I
No, that
could.
sounds like a narcotic. I don't have that. That's not what
What you
mine is
may
for.
have is a narcotic. If you got
No,
some, what you got, oxycodone?
no, I don't do
Uh,
that.
oh, I'm about to
No, I
say,
know
yeah.
those words. When I see that one prescription, I don't even take that to the pharmacist because I don't want that look. Like, is this a junkie? No. I don't want you to have to go get the pharmacy manager to fill my shit. No. If you got to go do that,
Oh,
I'll just go get some Tylenol, baby. I'll get some I'll get some Tylenol. But
I don't.
that's what I felt. You know, that's and it was the cancer in me, like always trying to fix everybody, always trying to control other people's emotions and juggle those emotions. And the whole time I was emptying myself out. So
So
I
the
had to learn
question,
how to fill me up and give you what is the residual or running over.
but when you say you had to fix someone, what gave you the notion that they were broken?
How they related to me.
How they related to you, and how were they supposed to relate to you? Like,
Because their brokenness was revealed in how they treated me, how they expected things from me, how they treated me basically. In so many words, somebody will tell you that they're broken. In so many words, some people don't come out and directly say it, but you
mhm,
know what that means. You know when somebody don't have a good self identity or a good self awareness or confidence. You you
mhm,
you read that on them. Sometimes you don't have to hear it from them. You can read it because it reflects in how they treat other people. How they
mhm,
feel about themselves is often a reflection of how they see themselves. And I learned that lesson very young, so I could
mhm,
see it when it was happening in front of me, even when people felt like they were hiding it with all their, expensive clothing and
mhm,
money and the exterior stuff. I could
mhm.
still see it on them, and I always was like, "Well, let me fix this." And that's something I learned from my mother. Let me fix it.
Okay.
I don't feel the need to do that anymore.
Okay, that's a good spot. Well, I'm glad that you've evolved. I think for me, being myself, even creating the image of Blue, that was me breaking away from the construct that was created for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that being Lorenzo was completely different from being Blue, because
Yeah.
being um, Lorenzo was conservative. Lorenzo was
Oh, the
considered.
burgundy, the burgundy. Okay, I now I get conservative. The burgundy is conservative. The burgundy that makes them conservative. Okay, I get it.
Oh, wait a minute. What happened?
I
Um,
feel
well, well, you went to Be Exposed. So what I'm saying is the Be Exposed logo, and but I'm gonna continue. The yeah, the Lorenzo was a construct. It was the ideals of someone else as opposed to myself, and I think that and when you, so I'm not a parent in a sense where I have my own children. I'm a parent in the sense that I have other people's children. And so
mm,
so that's
literally
how.
and figuratively.
But well,
They
I
somebody
can't,
child.
I can't help it if I take care of, I take care of sons really well. So if you need your son completely taken care of, send him over to mother. Because
Mm.
trust and believe, I have the spirit of an old ass lady deep down inside me. You know that it's a video, a meme where she was like, I done cooked these neck bones and some rice and that's me. I'm gonna fatten you up. I'm gonna make you. You gonna know that you've been loved on by me. So if your
Mm.
son needs some good loving, tell him let him know he gonna be. It's in me. Mama gonna take care of him. But so for me, it was the I was conserv. I was much. Lorenzo is much more conservative than Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Lorenzo is much more considerate of others than Blue. Blue is more considerate of himself. You know, I think, and so that's when I created Blue. I created Blue because I struggled with my identity growing up because there wasn't no representation of me, even within the gay population. I didn't see me. I
Mm-hmm.
saw stereotypes. I saw, and those were things that I didn't subscribe to. So that was the biggest issue for me. I knew that I was gay, but I didn't know I wasn't that. So
It's
I wasn't.
interesting. It's interesting that you brought up the name separation because I think a lot of people do that in personas.
Mhm.
And some people know how to be healthy in their personas, and some people just simply try to hide themselves within it. And there's
Well,
a difference.
and so for me, that was my way of that was my self-care. When I created Blue because I did not know how to manage the two like effectively. And
Mm-hmm.
so what happened was when I was in middle school, I created Blue because middle school was really traumatic for me. Middle school and high school was really traumatic for me, not because I went through a whole lot of it was bullying or anything. It was just that it was hard to navigate it when you didn't see yourself and then you were
Mm-hmm.
trying to socially interact with others and you didn't
Yeah.
know how to go about it. And so, and you didn't know what was acceptable behavior. I didn't know. I can't say anyone else. I didn't know what was acceptable or unacceptable. And it was easy for things that I did to be construed. And so that was a difficult time for me. So I created Blue as a way of, as a persona to blame. So when I was Blue, then I could be all of these things that I considered to be negative. But what I realized was when I was Blue, I was actually being honest. And
Mm-hmm.
that was something I think a lot of adults don't know. I think we as young people, young people and parents have a different definition of what honesty looks like and is. And so for me, being honest was being absolutely transparent with myself and saying
Mm-hmm.
these are the things that I'm afraid of, and these are the things that I need in order for me to thrive. And that's when I started to actually step into Blue, which is why I am Blue most of the times as opposed to Lorenzo. I'm only Lorenzo when I'm at work. And that's because I am suppressing a lot of who I am, when I'm there because I'm considering other individuals. But
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of putting one persona in the passenger seat and giving the other persona the
Permission to
ability to
drive.
drive. And what allowed me to create that was um, my study of dissociative identity disorder and which for anyone that's actually paying attention or knows anything about mental health, dissociative identity disorder is what they used to call multiple personality disorder. And what we know about that is that individuals that struggled with multiple personality disorders experience some sort of trauma and their personality or their mind fractured into different personality constructs that they would assume when they were when they experienced some form of duress. So if they were stressed out in any way, shape, or form, they would
Mm-hmm.
assume a different persona to deal with it. So that
I,
was very
I think
intriguing
I
to me.
did that briefly in my 20s, because the type of people that I started to hang around were not who I could down the line see myself with. And what has happened? None of those people are around me. And it was something, it lasted longer than I wanted it to learn because I started to see those people as humans and as people, and they wasn't just characters that I had accumulated in reality. But
Mm.
I think I went through that briefly. But going back a little bit to the naming thing, that's an interesting thing because I think that's why I go by Nate because I don't like nicknames. I never like nicknames. I never like um being called like even words of affection from somebody you're in a relation. I don't typically like that because I like my name.
Oh, so you don't like being called Sugar Lump?
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh,
And
oh,
I tell you to not do that shit every single time.
oh, Sugar Lump.
I don't because because often people do that and that's them becoming familiar with you and you haven't given them that permission often. And for me it was adults in my life. It wasn't even children. Like most of the people who knew me have known me a long time. They call me by my first name. My family calls me by my first name. And typically in your family, everybody has some type of nickname, but my family doesn't do that.
So
Or
the
my
funny,
family will call me Mr. Couser.
so the funny thing is that my name was often mispronounced. And
Mm,
so no one actually called me by my name except for individuals that were in my family, immediate family. And they
mhm.
didn't even call me, they shortened my name. So
Yeah.
it was very rarely that someone actually called my name. So, but it was interesting that, that was another thing that no one actually called my name. They always would call me some form of my name, and it was always wrong. And I believe that my name is very easy, Lorenzo. That's easy.
Yeah.
Lorenzo. Lorenzo. That's easy.
Well, I started using
I've been
Nate because I
everything.
got tired of being called Nathaniel.
Yeah, I've been everything other than Lorenzo. I've been a Delfonso, Alonzo,
And that's
Alfonso.
looking at your name, and that's how you know dyslexia is real.
No, I don't believe it's dyslexia because they're creating absolute that's a whole entire new name. I just believe it's just illiteracy.
Yeah, well, that's a part of dyslexia. Like you really see things, words move around, so they become something totally different.
But
And
see
there are
now,
a lot of functional dyslexics in the world.
no, no, when you just can't, no, that's not the same. Dyslexia is when you actually see the word in a pattern or a position that's not like it's supposed to be. It's
Mhm.
upside down, it's backwards, or something like that. At least they're seeing some semblance of the word. However, when you completely call me a completely different name and you add a consonant that's there that you don't see there, that means you're
It's a
creating.
lady in my school. She was like, "I'm just gonna call you Mr. C because I can't say." I said, "You can say it. Repeat after me. I'll just correct you every time. But just try it. My name not C.
What's is what is it?
It's
What?
Couser. My name is Couser.
I call you Sugar Lump.
No, you don't. He is never gonna be that. Do not let him fool you all like that. But I really, it was a different persona only because literally, and I think I spoke it into existence because for the most part, I think 1% of those people I'm actually on speaking terms with, or at least communicate with them. But the rest of them, because I saw that happening because it was just
Mhm,
me trying something new. It was me, it was a part of me that would go out to the paradox. Like I was telling Marnie before we started, I was just in, and you probably know the person. I was in a Family Dollar off of,
mhm,
I'm gonna say where it was at, but I went into the I went into the store and I had asked him the price of something, and he was like, now mind you, I had my mask on, and I didn't wear glasses back then. I wore contacts, and he
mhm,
said, I remember you from somewhere, and I was like, couldn't be me. I don't do nothing. So, and I knew who he
mhm,
was, but I think that part of me kicked in again. Was like, separate yourself, and because I did not want to be remembered for that part of my life, even though I value that part because I learned a lot of valuable lessons. It's just
I remember that part of your life. You were
I
kind of
don't remember.
you
I
were
don't
the
remember.
child of the night.
No, I just went out and had fun. But
Oh,
it was it and some people now they be like, Nate, come have fun. And I am comfortable sitting in my studio creating art. Like I've never been a person like that. I did that because I thought, Nate, like you can't want to be this. And as I get older, I do. I do. I enjoy going out and having fun in moments, but it's
mhm.
always with a group of people that I know well and I want to be around. It's not
People
just
that you feel comfortable with.
yeah, feel comfortable with, but it's the people that I've chosen to be around. I don't want to go out into a big party. Like we're planning to go to where is that the Dominican Republic in December, Marnie?
Yes.
It is,
So
yes. I walked
so
away.
so
Sorry.
something like that. Now I know it's gonna be people there that I don't know, but chances are I'm gonna either hang by myself or I'm going to hang with the people and be around those other people that I don't know. And I'm good at separating stuff. And I think like you said, that Nate versus Nathan, because Nathan for me was I was a professional even when I was a child. My mother she gave me that name because she wanted me to be somebody's CEO of somebody's Fortune 500. And she said that. But and so that name was associated with family and with individuals. Even calling me Mr. Couser makes me cringe because that associates me with like my dad and his family and my mom. Like it just like I go by Nate. That's it.
Mhm.
Because it's very nondescript. Because then most people think my name is Nathaniel, so then I know they don't know me. So when they do that, so that helps me to separate people who don't know me from the people who do. Because especially as Black people, we have a habit of just wanting to be familiar from the first interaction, even though
Well,
we don't trust it.
and I think that that's important that you mention is that one, there's a lack of trust,
Hmm.
and that people don't know you. And I think that because we are operating from a very guarded space, that it's hard for us to allow people in because we don't trust who's going to steal our stuff. You get what I mean? Like we, family, friends, anyone, we just don't know who's going to walk off with those special parts of us and not
Hmm.
return them, borrow parts of us and not,
Yep.
and so that's major thing for me is that I had to learn how to be trusting, even though I lived in a untrusting and distrustful world. You get what I
Right.
mean? And so it's
That's
like
exactly what I mean. I just had to learn how to do it without it being so separated. So you can still be in my space, but if you call me by Nathaniel, I know you don't know me.
but see, I think that that's important. Even when you say they don't know you, do you provide an opportunity for them to know?
Yes, but
Because I
I
know with
don't
me,
like the idea of me letting people in. So that like the gentleman who said something to me today, you would think you know me because I was around you. And I
mhm.
don't want you to misconstrue our relationship level because some people would just lean in on that. And I used to just let it happen. So I let the wrong people in my life. So some of the people who I know today were friends of friends of friends. I used to say I have a bad habit of making best friends with the friend of a friend. And those people became my best friends because those were people who I got to choose to be around. The other people were people who I just let in my life. So
Well,
then
so but the thing
like
is that what is that a bad habit?
at one time it was a bad habit because if you looked at all the people who considered themselves my friend and I was mutual in that, they were always friends of friends. And that happens, but typically we stay friends with this person and then we're cordial with all those people. Like I began to make it wasn't, I don't want to call it a habit, but my deepest relationships started happening with the people who were second, third generation because I took more time to get to know those people than I did the first generation people. And that just taught me how to make friends. Now, I didn't want to keep doing that because then that created a rift between the first generation friend because they like, are you just coming and just making friends with my friends? Like, some people are uncomfortable with that. Me, not as much, but I understand it now because I went through it. But just I like for people to take their time with me. I don't like people to rush into things. I don't like overly aggressive people or people who make friends the first day. Like
I
we
think what you're doing right now is very important. I think that a lot of times there's an assumption that individuals know who we are and what our needs and wants are, and they really don't. And I
right.
think that truth be told is that we don't realize how important communication is and how it is very important to know how to effectively communicate. Like people, we talk, but are we actually communicating with one another? Are you actually trying to
Right.
understand where I'm coming from? And I think a lot of times what happens, and I see this with myself, you know, even though, I've learned how to communicate, I still sometimes see myself communicating, preparing for the defense, as opposed
Yeah,
to,
because you
you
did it
know,
with me. Because that's how you treated me for years.
yeah, yeah, yes, because you know what, I need to be defensive against
And
you.
what is funny? What you do to me now is what I used to do to you then. Like I used to stop
Exactly.
him in random. I used to stop him in random. It was always either you were walking home up Charles Street or something, and I would see him, or we would be coming. You would always leaving campus, and I was going on campus, and I would stop him, and I would purposely do it because I could tell like this nigga is not feeling whatever it is I'm giving in this moment. And now he does the exact opposite to me, and it is very fucking annoying. It's
Oh,
very
but
annoying.
what? Well, so no. First of all, the reason why I was that way was because the experience that I was having, usually, like I said, it was in passing and was usually at school. So me passing you in school, your involvement in school and my involvement in school was different because I was a non-traditional student and you were you were
No.
more traditional than I was. You participated in
Okay.
clubs,
Okay.
you were
I
doing
was gonna
things.
say, nigga, I was standing there. I was way over 18 when I started.
No, but in terms of you actually experiencing college, you involved yourself in a lot of the stuff that was going on, and I did. And so
Right.
I was more so, I'm going to class, I'm leaving. Because usually I didn't have the time to actually socialize, and the individuals that I socialized with were individuals that were actually in my class. I developed the most relationships with those that I was in class with. You
Mhm.
are actually the only person that has never been in a class with me that I've actually connected. And so when I would see you, I knew that I thought you were humorous, but then I was like, okay. I was like, this is an interesting character. I don't know what.
Why he wants to talk to me?
I see. And then when I saw that you were in the theater, I said, now I understood why you were an interesting character because most theater majors are interesting characters.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, this makes sense. But I liked your personality. And now I am biased about a lot of things. And the reason why is based off of my experiences. And so for me, dealing with um, I would say the intellectual males, or they would tend to be a lot more sarcastic and a lot more. They had a lot of things to prove, and
Mhm.
so I really didn't. My patience is really thin with a lot of people, and so when you gave off certain energy, if you were arrogant or condescending or extra for no
Smart ass.
reason,
The
yeah,
same
that
thing that you
too,
do to me now.
huh?
The same thing that you giving now, you couldn't fake it then.
Oh no, I'm not a smart ass. No, I'm not a smart ass. I am not. I'm so approachable. And see, I don't even have to
Well,
say that.
very
Anyone who,
approachable, but you're still a smart ass. You're the
no,
type of person that be like, hey, and then choke you when you get near.
if I know you, because you deserve it. If I know you, and so for you, yeah, you would deserve it. But then I don't need to choke you because you'll choke yourself. Because what I'll do is I'll make you laugh, and then you'll just start choking on whatever you got in your mouth. So, but no, yeah, it was really different, and I think when we don't communicate effectively, that's when a lot of things happen. Like even with me, again, you were saying that this is be you for you. I had to figure out who was I, who I was personally, and then
But see, the thing was, people normally gravitate to me because typically I'm the quiet person. Like,
and I get to know you.
right. So people normally gravitate towards me. There's only been a few people who I've chosen to befriend.
Well, and also because I was
Like I
trying to
initiated it rather.
right, because I was trying to figure me out, I had to
Mhm.
figure out who I was first. And so I had to put on different faces and see, well, is this my face? Is this my face? And when I finally said, well, wait a minute, you're putting a mask on top of a mask on top of a mask. Take
Mhm.
all of that off, and that's your face. And when I got uncomfortable with my face, then I started to show up more. And I realized the face that I was Blue. That Lorenzo was someone that was created. And it was unfortunate because that individual was someone that, that I believe, exists within me, but it is not me.
Right.
It is not, I'm
But it's a
complete.
part of you that it is because a part of me is
I
Nate.
mean, yeah, absolutely.
A part
Absolutely.
of me is Nate. Like Nate for me is the artist that most people meet when I'm in my creative space. But if I'm randomly out or especially in this space by myself, I'm Nathan. Nathan
Hmm.
is quiet. Nathan is very reserved. Nathan is the rich white lady that many of my crazy friends assume I am. But Nathan is the person who,
We know that's a lie.
but it just, but it really, and I so often I am more Nathan than I am Nate. Nate can turn himself on. I'm doing the Black to the Arts District. Me, like when I told people that I was doing radio, they was like, "How you gonna do that?" Because they wasn't used to me being or trying to be the life of the party. Naturally, I draw attention to myself.
Hmm.
It could be the way I dress or what I have on. I used to always have like a crazy hairstyle because I realized I was doing things like even now, me making jewelry. I wear big, bold pieces so people can ask me about it, and then I talk to them about my jewelry. So that's
Hmm.
typically how things work for me. So I don't start off being that way. So it's weird when certain people meet me as Nate because then
And
they
see,
expect for that person to always be on. So now
mhm.
when I'm having a bad day, uh, my friend Radiance, every time we talk now on the phone, she's like, I don't like when you're not 100%. And I'm like, this is really who I am. Like I really don't talk much. So on the phone for me, like if you can get me to talking, like you good. But
Mhm.
typically, even on the phone, I'm the person that's listened the most, or in environments, I'm the person that listens. That's why I've gotten so good at listening or being able to examine people because I'm watching you the whole time. I'm
Well, so
listening, but I'm watching you.
right. And so now, as I got older, the personas merged. So
Mhm.
now that I'm at where I'm at, there isn't a separation. Blue is Lorenzo, Lorenzo is Blue. But before that wasn't the case. I had to
Well,
separate the
we
two.
gonna get you out of that burgundy because I don't want that Lorenzo. That
Oh, first
Lorenzo is more fun.
Burgundy. Well, you get me out the Burgundy when you come out them dashikis. Because let me tell you something.
But you like my dashikis though.
I mean, and that's because I like burgundy. So if the reason I like burgundy is the reason you wear dashikis.
But it's not the burgundy per se. It's just the burgundy, the blues, and the purple.
See, I can wait. First of all, it wasn't burgundy; it was wine. And
You do have it. You always say I didn't get that gene, but you got it. You
it's
got it.
wine.
It's
So
hard.
I'm gonna need you to know the differentiation.
I do know it, but I just wanted to see if you knew what you were
No,
talking
it was wine. It was wine. And
about.
when you're refined, you wear wine, not burgundy.
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse you.
Pardon-moi.
Uh-huh. So yeah,
Pardon-moi.
and I think when also in relationships, when you're able to, I feel with a lot of, well, I'm only speaking for me. It
Mhm.
was hard for me to establish intimate relationships because I didn't know how to articulate what it was that I needed, and I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to. Um, it wasn't so much define me. I didn't know how to present myself. So when someone asked who I was, I didn't know. I couldn't give them a definitive answer to that. And that was something that I struggled with because when you're getting to know someone, you want to know them intimately. Like, what are your
Mhm.
fears? Where do you see yourself in the future?
And if you
What do you
don't
like?
know, it can become a real boundary
What are
issue
your strengths? What are
because
your
that I'm the opposite. I'm the
mhm.
person that be like, so tell me a little bit more about yourself. Well, I mean, and that's normally what I get. So when I dig deep, especially in romantic relationships, it happened in friendships too. But most of the time when I'm dating someone, it becomes friction because I'm trying to get out of them, like you said, something they don't even know.
Right. But
Like
I
if
had to recognize that I didn't know it even for myself. So for
Mhm.
me to kind of look at them and judge that they didn't know themselves, I kind of, I was like, well, how can you actually look at them and say, well, they're not being 100% or they don't know who they are when you don't know who you are. And then when it was time for me to be intimate, I couldn't convey what it was that I wanted because again,
Oh,
the construct was something like I hadn't experienced everything to say what it is that I like or dislike. And that's one of my major pet peeve is when you say you don't like something, you've never experienced it. I'm
but
like,
but
okay,
that's so when I'm in the moment, I
mm,
realize that's a struggle. But that's why I'm never really in the moment. My mind is always in thought or creativity or drifting
mhm,
because I'm able to examine my wants and my needs and I know how to articulate that. And I
mm,
realize, especially a lot of guys don't know that.
yeah, yeah.
And
And that's
that's my conflict with people. Like I know what I want and I've settled
Oh,
because
you know
for
what
the
you
most
want,
part,
huh? Oh,
I've
you know
always
what
known
you.
what I want.
Oh, you know what you want.
Yes.
Bullshit. Say that was fine.
I know what I want. But I've often had to settle because people who are around me don't know. And I used to dumb myself down a lot. I remember being in by the time I got to middle school, I used to get teased because of how I spoke. Because I could say a $15 word in my regular conversational tone. And the adult, not just the children, because the children wouldn't know what the hell I was saying. The adults would just look at me and either think I was being arrogant or, you know, thinking I was better than like my aunts and uncles to this day they think I'm better than them because that's how I used to talk. But if you're in a space where you're learning more, and then the people around you aren't, you always gonna come across as condescending or arrogant.
So
But
I
I was
think
just showing what I was learning.
right.
Like
See, for
why
me,
encourage me to go to these schools if you don't want me to bring it home?
well, see, and I think that because of mine was because I was my religion, my background was Jehovah's
Mm-hmm.
Witness, and so they
Mm-hmm.
were very conservative. So
Yeah.
that's where a lot of how my foundation was based upon. But what I struggled with is because they were so rigid that you didn't actually experience the colors of life. So everything
Right.
was just black and white. But I saw the world in colors. And so I wanted to experience those colors. And it was hard for me to do that when there was so many things. It was kind of the difference of like, seasoned food and unseasoned food. And it was to me, their food was unseasoned and I wanted to taste the actual seasonings, the different seasonings, and that's when I started to question a lot of the things because it didn't make sense to me. And it seemed like it was really complicated to live because you had all of these rules. And I was like, damn, well, when do you actually experience life? And
You know why I think we get along? Because everything you say, my experience is polar opposite. Like literally polar opposite.
see, no, I had a very colorless existence. And what the reason why I love color, the people think that for a long time, and still to this day, many people think that because I wear makeup like eyeshadow and things, that it's because I'm gay. It is not. It is because I have
Well, because
absolutely
you
not.
was a lady. But
It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with that. It's actually because I was my colors were so bland growing up. So they
mhm.
were so like they were just monochromatic, one color, black, white, brown, and that was it, tan, and there was no variance. And so when it was time for me to, have a color palette, I didn't know how to blend colors. I didn't know what colors work with one another. So it was hard for me because it was so black and white for me growing up. And so when I started to see things in color and started to experience life in color, that's when I started to question a lot more things. I was like, oh, damn, I didn't know this what it was like to be blue. And I didn't know this is what it felt like to be red. And I didn't know that this is what it felt like to be green. And when I started to have those experiences, that's when I started to really gain some wisdom because I was like, then I'm off the step. I'm actually experiencing life. And not saying that everything was wonderful because absolutely it wasn't. But the reality is that if I had a choice, I would prefer the things that I've experienced after I left being a Jehovah's Witness as opposed to when I was a Jehovah's Witness.
I have a friend that had that same type of existence, and he ended up moving to Atlanta, and his life is really flourishing in all the arrays of the color. And part of me has always wondered, should I have moved when I was younger? Because my existence is a little bit different. I had like everybody in my family is fucking crazy and fucking on a spectrum of colors and dimensions and all that. That's just who they are. Like I have a lot of funny people in my family. I have a lot of creative people in my family. The difference is they did not harness it. It just,
Oh,
some people just are, and that's just they just live their life. Like I got this extra arm right here, and I'm just going. It's just an extra arm. You never utilize it. You never put it to work, but you just got it, and that just makes you different. So I had all these different people in my family that were extremely talented, from great grandmother to baby cousins, but none of them ever used it. So for me, I was the black and white vanilla character in the
mm,
family. And so I naturally had the colors on me because I was a part of all of them. But for me, I just used the colors. Like I knew how to naturally do it because I would sit and watch them for so long. Like I used to have these visions as a child that this table that I'm sitting at fell apart and my mind would put it back together. And I just, one, because I was clumsy and I always broke shit. But the other reason, because I just naturally saw how to bring things together and put them back together. So I'm
mhm.
the person in my family that is utilizing all of the crayons in the coloring box. But
Me
I
that.
am most comfortable
Mhm.
sitting somewhere, being quiet, not seen. Like I'm most comfortable like that because that's who I am at my core. But all the
Mhm.
other layers of me have all of those colors and dimensions and shapes and sizes to it. And
Mhm.
it's just a weird space to be in because
Mhm.
now I can see my family like, oh, okay. Like I have a lot of people who are now discovering themselves
Mhm.
at this age, or I have family members who never would have done certain things who are now doing it. And then of course you have the family members that are just going the polar opposite direction.
Mhm.
But it it is interesting watching people flourish now, especially family members flourish now, because it's what I wanted for them. Like I could see it, like do it, like go
Mhm.
out there and do it. And I try to find, even in my own work, I try to find ways to include them or to, make them a part of it, but it doesn't work. It does because I've been doing it too long and they just don't get it the way I get it.
So the odd thing is that because of who I am now, I think, and my behavior, how I conduct myself, I give people permission to be themselves around me. So you don't have to be inhibited in any way, shape, or form. But when I'm dealing with young people, it's always interesting because I think I see myself as young at heart. So I have this energy to me, and I am. But when I'm with the young people, I'm their auntie. I'm always, I'm the aunt, I guess the raunchy, rowdy auntie in the
Mhm.
family for everybody. And I don't see myself as that, but they see me as that. So I'm okay with that. They put me in that
Yeah.
space. But but that's who I become because
Mhm.
they are able to be themselves. They'll tell me stuff that they may not tell their parents or their intimate partner, and they confide in me because I don't really, the where I am, I don't judge the color that they are.
But but you what is and you've gotten a chance to meet a couple of my family members, but you are who they expect me to be.
oh,
Like
oh,
when I started going to college and being in all the art stuff, you are the person who they thought was gonna come back home.
oh.
So it's interesting. You got to meet two of my cousins and my aunt. And what is
Mhm.
what is very funny, they think I'm the turn up kid. So they like to drink and party, and I'm the one sitting there, very reserved, very my cousin that you met, we call each other twin. And we're the same person on the inside, but she likes to turn up. And I'm the person that's just gonna be there to catch her when she pass out. And then
Mhm.
they expect for you to walk through the door when I come in.
No,
And they
and
get
even
disappointed every single time. That's how people I can tell that's how people want to relate to me, but it's not who I am, so I can't pretend to be that. Like if I tried to show up as Blue, it would be hilarious or sad,
wow,
some extreme, because it's not who I really am.
right.
So even when all of you all be like, "Come on, Nate," I'm good. I'm the
Well, see,
person that likes to watch and
I
just
don't, but I don't see. I think that you assume that you don't turn up, but with me, you actually did. You let your
but that's but you still see how my turn up is.
but
Just
say
see
so.
how it unfolds.
I
That's
say,
because you're on 1,000, so everything looked like at least 500 to you.
well,
Everything,
when
unless I'm just dead.
you let your hair down.
But
You
I'm naturally that way once I'm comfortable. But
right,
notice when it's other people in the room that I don't know, I'm not that way. And
right.
it's not necessarily even a protective thing. It's just I have to scope out people and I have to
But
see
that,
and feel
but
energy.
But it is. And I don't
Mhm.
want you to feel like I don't think that it's wrong to say that. I
Mm.
think that when we say that, I think a lot of things that we do, we kind of have a negative connotation with. No, it's
Mhm.
okay to say that I'm protecting my energy, I'm protecting my space when I'm around people that I'm not familiar with. Because you don't want, that's again like you opening your house to people that you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't leave your doors open so that everyone can flow through. No, you kind
Mhm.
of filter out who can come into your house and who can. And even when you have filtered out, there are always some person that slips in that you think that is supposed to be there, and they show you that they're not. So
Because
it's
people
okay
will
to be
say, "Are you
cautious.
okay? What's wrong?" And
Right?
I'm
It's
like, "I'm
good.
good. Like
Right.
this,
It's
I'm
good to
being
be
me."
that way. I'm
Right.
that way too. And in spaces where I'm not familiar with the individuals, I'm guarded. I'm very guarded. And it's okay to be
Mhm.
that way. But being honest and saying I'm getting familiar with everyone. Because as soon as I'm familiar enough, you'll start to see me shift and say,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm comfortable. But in waters that I'm comfortable, I'm a swim. But if I'm not comfortable, I'm not jumping out in the middle of the pool and I don't know how deep it is. No, thank you. I'm going to sit on the sideline. I'm going to be on this wall and I'm going to be kicking my leg.
I can be that person in my own lane. It don't have to include anybody. But I think because I be so extreme with it, like if it's just you and I, and then people start coming, and then I become quiet, Nate, because I'm really analyzing everybody, and it's something that naturally, it's not even something that I necessarily consciously like. Okay, I'm about to do that now. It just happens as a result of just time or just energy. Like it just happened because I turn into this person that's just. I'm not even judging. I have to watch. I like to watch people when they don't think anybody's watching, because then when they notice it's me, oh, that's him. I feel then they either want to stay far away from me or they want to get really close to me. Like people who typically meet me like that, they become very touchy feely, and I'm not a touchy feely person. And I've realized I'm attracting a person to me. Like I learned that a long time ago. Like Nick, you're actually attracting them to you. So they want to be close to you. They want to be near you. But other than that, I'm like, don't touch. I'm good. I'm good right now.
And see, I'm the opposite because I'm a very intimate person, so I need physical touch. Now, I'm not that I don't. I think because I'm just naturally hot, I don't want you to be clingy on me because then if I start to sweat, then you become icky to me. But I do like I like physical forms of affection. I like intimate conversations. And so I am a sapiosexual. I think I like intellectual conversations. Now I don't want to be talking about quantum physics and shit all the damn time, and I don't want to talk about comic book shit either. And I don't want, I want variation, but I do like.
People don't like. People are more comfortable getting into the deepness with tools like that, like sports or anime, or people are comfortable doing because that becomes a boundary for them. Like for me, I want to learn more about you. So if I discover those things about you, that's great. But I'm the person that's asking you about you. But I realize, especially in this city, in cities like this, especially with Black men, they are not comfortable with you seeing who they really are.
I see, and that's where I don't think that's completely true. I just think that they don't trust people enough to be who they are. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with a lot of Black men, that the ones that the guys that I connect to aren't stereotypically guys that I'm supposed to connect to. So for me, I'm more inclined to connect to the Little Murders, and because and oddly enough, they tend to be the very intellectual, intimate individuals, and it's contradictory of who they are when in the world. So when I get them in a space where they feel safe, they open up, they talk to me, and I'm able to get something out of them. I feel is the jewel, which is I get to see them in a naked space, literally and figuratively sometimes. But what I'm saying is that they're able to be themselves, and they're not being judged on anything that they are or what they present.
The slight difference for me, those individuals typically attract themselves to me sexually, and then they want to get to that deeper place.
And see, I think it's the opposite. I think what happens is that because I'm not, I don't.
I'm just sexy. You can say it. Go ahead.
I'm not. I think I'm a sexual person. I think that what they say.
I am sexy. I didn't say
that. No, I see now. I was just gonna say you was a sugar lump. I wasn't gonna. I ain't gonna say that. I will not let. I mean,
I get it.
You are.
It's hard for you to say it.
I'm not gonna ever take anything away from you. You are, but you're a sugar lump to me. So you gotta, for me, you gotta.
We get it.
You gotta stretch your legs out. You gotta get a knee elongation. You gotta kill a few people. No, you gotta kill a few people. So no, but no, what I'm saying is that uh, eh, I think that it depends on the energy that you present when you're meeting people. And because I'm where I am with myself, where I'm okay with being me, which is why I spell my name Blue. The first letter is B, the
I
last
thought you
name
were
is
just
E.
dyslexic.
No, everything that I do, it has a rationale to it. There's a reason for everything that I do. And so I'm always affirmed,
Or slightly informal.
I'm not really.
All the
First
way
of
down.
all, when I was in the third grade, I was reading the Bible. So anyone who's actually reading the Bible in the third grade,
Well,
I will
that
let
doesn't. I mean, I didn't attack your intelligence. I just said you're a little retarded. That don't mean you
you said
stupid.
you said a little slow.
A little spectrumish.
I might be. I might be. I'm not going to take that away
You
from
said
you.
you like to. You typically attract those people on the spectrum, but
But, I've
light,
been with
light,
one for.
light has to see light. So
Look, they have their strengths. I make it work for me. Look,
Mhm.
I find some positive in anything. Look, if one side of your body is taller than the other, I'm going to find something to do with that short side and that long side. So,
Get me out of here. Get me out of here.
check your inbox.
But I literally was when I was like I said when I was driving
Mother is
here, like
telling you to check your inbox. Mother is
check your
telling you to check.
inbox.
Yes,
Why am I
check
checking
your
my
because
inbox?
somebody may have said something to you while you were
Uh,
talking about being a freak.
my messenger. Oh,
Good morning, sunshine.
he sent me this meme. It says Chris Rock says Hollywood Unlocked reports that Chris Rock says Will Smith ripped his mask off and showed he was ugly as the rest of us after Oscar fiasco. So when I mentioned
Boo.
but I meant but see that's what I meant when I said people normally say it but they're not direct with it. That message to me shows that Chris Rock has an insecurity.
But he said that.
No, I'm just saying, but have most people would have choose not to see it that way. Or they just wouldn't have seen it that way. But when I have something like I've had people say stuff like that to me. But I always could see that, oh, Chris Rock just had some insecurities about himself. And because because he had a real moment, you're now using this as an open door to now jump him. So,
Mhm.
oh
Oh
shit.
yeah, and the comments are not favorable for this at all.
For
Because they're
Chris
like,
Rock.
you don't want to let this go, and now you're using it to make money off of it.
Well, no, but but see what happened was, and I knew this was gonna happen. That's why I stopped talking about it. At some point, it was gonna go away.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Rock's the way he was handling it was, I'm gonna let the people destroy it. I ain't even gotta say nothing.
But
I'm gonna just let the
that's
people
not even how they're even looking at it now. They're looking at it as if he had, after it, that's how it, kind of felt. But now they're like, you using your silence is that so you can use this in your comedy tour because he's been
Yeah.
talking all these days on
But
interviews that he's declined, so he can talk about it in his comedy tour.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of these comments right here, I'm gonna read this one. This one says, he should have remained silent. Now I feel like he deserved it
Yeah.
why?
because the way he's talking about it in his tour.
He's capitalizing off of it.
Right, but he's not acting as the victim now.
No, he was the victim, but what he's done is he's
But was he the victim?
No,
yes.
right. That's what I mean. He's supposed to be the victim, right? But now he's going
Uh-huh.
on assault again in his tour.
But that's what he does. He's a comedian, and he uses the platform of taking something that's tragic and making it comedic.
But
For
it's
him,
not. But that's not working for comics like it used to work, though. That's the problem because
it
real
is.
life, Well, what's happening is real life is starting to happen, and now the audience has just as much of a platform as the talent has.
But
Because I can now go to social media or be in your comment section now.
right, that's fine. But I think what we're looking at is that he's taken something that was supposed to, because when initially it was all poor Chris Rock, and what he did was he switched it around and said, "I'm gonna capitalize off of it."
But
And
he
the
didn't
fact
at first though. He just thought his silence would handle Will, and then if I just
I don't,
limit my access to, or limit other people's access to me, i.e., the interviewers, then the momentum will build. And when I got this new special out, they gonna come out
I
and
think
see it.
that no, I think that what happened
feel
was what I think is that he was strategic, and what was the assumption
I
was
can
is
work
that
on.
his quietness or his silence was because, you know what, I'm gonna just let it die down, or I'm gonna let them do this.
right,
No, I
but the
think what he
question
was saying
then
was, I think his silence was, I'm going to figure out how I can use this to work for me, and I'm going to capitalize on it as
right,
much as
but they,
possible.
right there though, right. But see, now the question is do you think your audience thinks this is funny?
Yes.
That's not the sentiment. No, but it's not though, because that's not the sentiment you received. The sentiment you received was that we were on your side because you got assaulted. Now you're
So
making jokes about the assault. And what I'm telling you is that everybody that sentiment has backfired on him.
so
No.
what I'm saying
Thought
is
you could capitalize.
how many of his shows have sold out?
And Will Smith
No,
can't
but they
lose.
sold out on the purpose of supporting you in your
Hello.
struggle. And now that has backfired on you because you now turned this into a comedic special when this was not funny. We're still talking about assault here.
But
And now
I think
everybody,
that
like I say,
people,
this is big in the media right now. He's being torn apart for what he's now saying in his comedy show.
okay, and they can, but he's capitalizing off of it. And the fact is that when he's doing the same stuff that he was doing, if you saw him when you walked and you came, because I'm quite sure that the stuff that he's doing in this special or whatever it is that he's doing is what he's been touring with. So it's not the difference is now we're able to see it
Yeah,
because we didn't have
some of his
access to
comments
that
when
show.
this first started was so sympathetic to his plight, to what happened to him. And
Right.
now, like now the comments is like, he's dragging this out. I don't know why he's still talking about this. Why won't he move on? That's the
Right. And
backfire.
I think that is, and that, I don't believe that's a him issue. That's a you issue because you don't have to tune
That's the
into
people
it.
that he's catering to. That's the point. It's not just a him issue. It's your pocket issue too, because eventually your money gonna dry up.
Well, I just think it's like when you tell a joke over and over again, it's like, all right, we heard this joke.
Yeah,
You know what
but
I'm
that's
saying?
but I
And
think
so
that's
it's
I
kind
think
of
that's both
old
of y'all
joke.
kind of saying the same thing. But I just think it's not gonna go the way he thought it would
I
go.
mean, I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying that I disagree. What I'm saying is that it's not, to me, it's to be expected. He's a comedian, he's capitalizing off a situation that anybody else wouldn't know how to spin it, but he spun it to benefit him. Now, is it
One
getting
of the
old?
interesting
Well, yeah, it's
like
a year later. If you're still talking about the time that somebody drug your ass down a step a whole year later, then you need some
See,
new material.
and that's what I was getting ready to say, because it sounds like what I'm hearing now from what I'm looking at in these comments right now is that they're saying now like he
Tag
deserved
me in
it.
there. Tag
Now
me
I'm
in the
starting to feel
comment.
they're like I'm starting to feel like he deserved it.
Well, I
Right.
mean, I think the reason that they feel that way is because when he does his jokes about, like, even with the Jada's, it was a redundant joke. So it's like, okay, yo, get some new shit. Your shit is not as funny. Bro, you played it out. Like if it was a fresh joke, then they would have been like, oh yeah, okay, I haven't heard that, so I'm gonna laugh it off. But you've been telling the same joke, so now it's like, now are you being malicious? You get what I'm saying? So so what they're saying is you don't know how to let the fucking joke go.
And
You
part of that is because the entire time, the reason why their relationship evolved into this in the first place is because he's always been malicious. And that's why it happened.
but I think that
Specifically
a lot
towards
of
them though.
It's just that their fight wasn't mainstream. Their arguments and stuff in the background, it wasn't mainstream. And now with the slap, it made it mainstream, but still no one knew about the past incidents.
Well, I mean, I think that, and I mean, I get it. So I'm not saying what I'm saying because I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't see a point. I do see a point. I just think that people, if you pay attention to comedians and stuff like that, then they're making a big thing about something that if you know comedians, this is what they do. You know, they do some janky shit and then they spin it so that they can capitalize off of it. And for him, he just so happened that I never really thought he was funny. So I never really found him entertaining. But for those individuals, because I thought his jokes were dry to me. You get what I'm saying? So I believe that
it was
that's just my opinion.
dry and borderline disrespectful. They
So
weren't.
I never. Now that's not to say that he doesn't. I mean, he has some funny moments, but at the end of the day, when I sit back and watch a special from the top for 2 hours or so, I don't. No, not really, because I don't believe that.
I'm sorry.
You know, he's not going to hold my attention that long. Now, that doesn't minimize what he's capable of doing. It's just that I know for me, it wouldn't hold my attention. Now, and I respect him. That's his craft. He's not, and I feel like every artist don't pander to everybody. So I'm okay with that.
Well, he doesn't have an urban audience. I mean, people like Chris Rock, but his audience is really white people.
I don't know because
that's he didn't come up in the black clubs like a DL.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't have a large black audience.
I'm not saying he doesn't have a black audience. I'm just saying where he normally panders to or what his demographic is. Like I went to one of his huge shows and it was mostly white people in there. It was black people. I was in there, but it was mostly people loved him because of the movies he did. But in terms of his comedy, it was always directed towards others. And we were included in it because we were part of the content. But other than that, because he does a lot of political and satire type of comedy. It was never really like the urban black comedy typically. But I get it. I mean, but that went along to what I was saying in the beginning. Be you for you. Like too many of us are being what we think a demographic wants for us, or what social media wants from us, or what our fans or followers or supporters want for us. And very few people are being themselves. And because I've realized when I started being me authentically 100%, not trying to save people's feelings or, not make the dude that, and part of what I was saying in that was, if you're going to be DL or gay, just be you for you.
But see, it's hard to say that when
it is, but you have to. It has to be It's hard to say it because we're in a mindset of thinking how other people see us. That's what makes it hard. And I'm not saying it makes even me saying that makes it easier. But at some point, you have to make a choice for you. And if you keep making choices for other people, you will continue having to live in dark spaces for the rest of your life. I think it be in light.
Yeah, I think more so it's like, people don't know how to we've been conditioned to be to want to be like someone else. Oh shit, time's up. My bad.
Oh no, he's not gonna take up the time and then gonna say time's up. But this in closing, that was kind of my overall messaging. And I was thinking about some incidents that I had with some people this week, but it really, and one of those incidents was like, you are going to be like this for the rest of your life, and you're comfortable in your discomfort. And in that moment, if I had not ever said it to myself before, that day would have been the first day that I would have said it. And I said, I can never be that. I just can't. And I still live my life in a way that's comfortable to me, where I'm not shouting it from the rooftop because other people want that. But I can never lie to myself to the point where I have to only take little bites of joy. Like
Mhm.
I'm
And
me being with you would be a bite, and then I gotta go and run over and try to be this in this other life that's not real for me, and then
mhm.
come back and take another bite of you, and then go run. And that's so exhausting. It's exhausting watching people live like that and
But
having moments like that for myself. It was exhausting living with my go out friends and my college friends. Like it was exhausting.
well, I think just because you show up, so it's just because I'm this way a lot of times doesn't mean that I don't take breaks from it. I
Yeah,
think it's about
yeah.
balance, and I think that when I guess I'm an extrovert, but I have a lot of introverted tendencies. So I know when to break away because I need to break away so I can recalibrate and
Balance, but it's balance.
yeah. And so that's okay. That's just a part of
Mhm.
being of self care. I think what you're saying and my interpretation is just being honest with you to accept that part of you that you probably wouldn't allow everyone to see. Be comfortable with that
Even if
individual.
it's even if you let your mind go there,
Yeah. And
and you're
so
and you're not ready for your body to go there. Maybe you could be 88 years old and you gonna be another what's the Kardashian stepdad and like him, and now he's probably living his best life in Macy's, going through the women department, living his best life. And now in my mind, like,
living
why
her best
aren't
life,
we allowing, as community, allowing people to explore that and discover that so
living
much
her
younger,
best life is
living
her.
her best life?
Yes.
Well, until he's no longer a Republican, he still will be him.
Oh,
Sorry, it's him.
ooh,
Sorry,
ooh, the shade, the
because
shade.
his politics cancels out his newfound life now.
No, it does not.
It does.
It,
Everything that you stand for then gets canceled out when you mark those boxes.
no, I mean, his some of his politics is some of her politics. You got me doing the wrong thing. Some of her politics are
But you know it's
contradictory.
real.
No, but I think that we can't. People, when you have these foundations and these beliefs that you've been conditioned and raised on, then it takes some time for you to evolve beyond that. That's again like
But
with me. I will
when
say
he
that
put that lip gloss on them low ass lips, that should have involved him.
no,
That should have
because
forced you
you
into a
could put
conversation.
everything to no that I mean, and again, her politics may not align with her likes, but that doesn't mean that she's not who she is. So
And I know that to be true. But you still are canceling out, so I can only give you what I see from you.
no, that's like
I can't
someone
give
looking
you
at you.
nothing that I don't see from you.
No, you can't cancel someone out because their politics don't
They're canceling
align with.
themselves out.
I mean, to a degree, but at the same
You
token,
can't
not
be
so.
against these things and then you go home and you do them. That
But
sounds
people do that
crazy
all
to
the
me.
time.
They
They
do,
do
and
it
that
all the.
ain't crazy. It ain't crazy when they do it. So
I
this
mean, it
thing
seems
real
crazy,
delusional.
but that doesn't. So you can just because you are a Republican doesn't stop you from being gay,
It don't.
and doesn't stop. So you
But
still
also voting against gay rights and then going home and being gay makes you confused.
that. But that hold on. That's an assumption because what happens is that's a
What you say? What you say? What you say?
that's a
Marty.
story for another day.
What say it again, Marty? What you say?
Now, Blue, I was about to say, Blue, you have to admit when Nate just said is absolutely correct.
About what?
Say it again, Nate. If
So
you go home,
you
if
go
you
home and you gay, but you just at work you voted against gay shit. That makes you a little. That means you just canceled yourself out.
But absolutely. I didn't negate that. I didn't negate that. But then again, that has a lot to do with some semantics because if she is living her life as a female and she's
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship with a male, she's not gay.
did she in a relationship with a female?
I would hope
No,
not. That would be all fucked up for me.
she's in a relationship with a female, a male. So she's not gay. So her saying I don't agree with gay rights makes sense. She's a heterosexual woman. Now,
Oh,
whether
okay.
you want to accept that as
Caitlyn
fact,
Jenner is in a relationship with a female.
huh?
Caitlyn Jenner is in a relationship with a female.
Oh, well then fuck it all.
Fuck it all. See?
What do you mean? This is that.
That's what I meant.
I can't even put the picture up fast enough. So I'm just gonna send it to Nate and his inbox.
I tried.
See? See, you was giving up a good fight. I give it to you.
And it would have been well supported. But then the facts are the facts.
Had the shenanigans not happened. Oh look. Oh my God. And that looked like Trump's daughter.
Ma'am, I'm gonna need her to get it together. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
was gonna say.
And also I just think some people do shit just to get attention. And they will put on the I can't see that and I don't even want girl.
It's giving me we in the same transition though. Really giving me the same transition.
All right, let's go. We gotta go.
It's giving me real Peter and Paul right now.
Ooh, Nate, you are reading today, honey.
I'm just
God.
saying.
Oh, I thought, oh, well, I am loving this. This shade looks good on you.
It looks good. And she has on burgundy. I'm sorry. She has on wine.
I'm glad I've evolved. So now I'm glad I've evolved past wine because I don't want you to. That was me when I was oppressed.
She's giving me Bordeaux right now.
Oh no!
I remember because she said in the beginning that she didn't know if she was going to be able to transition that way into being interested in men. Just because she felt like she was a woman, she didn't say she necessarily felt like she was gay.
But
yeah. But she also won Woman of the Year too, so I'm done.
But no, that was one of the things she said in the beginning, right in the beginning when she was first transitioning, that she still was interested in women. She just felt like a woman herself.
So she's gay.
So she's a
lesbian. And Chris said, "Fuck that shit. Get the fuck out of here."
I honestly believe that if Chris would have been okay with it, they would have still been together today.
Chris said, "Fuck that."
But Chris was not okay with it.
He said, "You want me to do
Chris
what?"
got some good sense.
He said, "We do some wild shit as Kardashians, but that's where I draw the line." Fuck that.
Well, I mean, because Chris isn't gay, she's attracted to men, and if she maintains a relationship with,
she don't even fuck with white men no more.
Right. That meant she would have to come out as a lesbian, and she
wasn't. And she's not a lesbian.
Right. She said, "Fuck that. I am strictly dickly." She said, "Fuck that."
She even
put
some flavor on that ding-a-ling.
I haven't heard the update on whether she got the cut or not, because I remember she was apprehensive on the cut.
I don't believe she has. Said nothing. I don't think she has.
Mm-hmm.
I think a part of me wants to say that she may have done this because of attention. And, this was her way of saying, because she has a lot of competition growing up in a house full of females and, they are all attention whores. And so.
When he went and got that surgery, when he was still Bruce, I already knew it. I said, this nigga is puckering up. He got them big old ducklets. But this has been another edition of It's 7-Eleven.
Hold on, yes, this has been a wonderful edition of the Artist Exchange on on
I was
Big
gonna say, cut
Exposed
this shit out.
Radio.
Cut that shit
I'm
out.
gonna say Nate has let that 18-inch of Wet and Wavy.
Oh, she did do it. She did do it.
What she got she had the full change.
That's what these articles are saying, that she already had the reassignment surgery.
That's why she won Woman of the Year.
Oh, is that why?
Well, your whole argument is shot to hell now.
Basically, I
You
look,
tried.
I tried.
Everything.
Well, for
I
let me
fight
tell
for
you,
people like that too.
no,
I get
not
it.
like that. I fight for. So what I'm saying is that I think that their conversation is that women, trans women, and trans men, when they're making that transition, for a lot of them, their reason is because that's who they identify as, and that they're not doing it because. Well, I can't speak for all of them because there are so many individuals that are doing it for attention, but there are a lot, just as many individuals because that's who they are, and for them, they don't feel as though they can thrive until they're in a space, they're in a skin that represents who they are. So but this is clearly, in my opinion, not the same thing. So not the same thing.
And this is a clinical therapist saying that. This is a clinical therapist saying this shit.
I just think that, if she's presenting herself as a female, then you address her as a female. And that's just, that's the appropriate thing to
say that
do.
Republican. I'm going to say that he, she, her, Republican.
Oh my goodness.
It's a pronoun now. That's it. I'm going to start calling Republican.
Is that, you can see you created the Republican. Now see, I can't say nothing about that.
We meet in the middle. It's compromise.
We did.
She, her, them, Republican. I think that would be very befitting. Hashtag pronoun, hashtag Republican. That's what we're going for now.
That's the new pronoun?
Yeah, that's the new way. That's gonna shut them up. They gonna shut some shit down when they hear that. So hashtag she, her, Republican.
Oh. So I don't want to be associated as a Democrat.
I mean, you can be whatever. You can be an independent. He, her, they, independent. Green Party. There's many of them.
I'm gonna be a part of the Blue Party.
You can start your own fucking party.
Yes.
So it's your prerogative. They ain't gonna vote for you anyway.
Thank you. Yes, the Blue Party is the Viagra Party. We stay hard.
Well, that's a Republican because they all for the blue pill.
Oh no, please don't. Please don't.
They ain't got rid of that.
Can y'all close this show out?
It's been a fun look. Thank you for showing up and joining us at the Artist Exchange on Be Exposed Radio. Join us next week at the same place, same time. I promise to be on time, I think. And we'll see you. Mwah! Smooches.
See y'all later, people. Don't forget Be Exposed Radio, Artist Exchange, all that jazz. We'll be back next week. What he said.
Oh, yeah.
See her, Republican.
You are so fucking funny. Jesus Christmas.
I'm gonna get you a t-shirt that say that. Why?
And you know what? And I'm gonna rock that shit. I'm gonna rock that shit so hard. Because I was like, and I'm Republican. But this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna have a picture of Caitlyn Jenner under it. And be like Republican.
That's what I said. I'm gonna make it so it look like a halo where it's going around right here. She, her.
You get there and I'm going to rock.